I'm on Nora, bringing facts to the scene. Laugh it out, yeah, no looking back, straight and so keen. I'm on Nora, the truth machine. Straight talks down, no nonsense here. Chit chat's gone, only facts are near. Holding hearts without a tear. Oh no, Nora, out and clear. Oh no, Nora, she's the real deal. Holding feet to the fire you can't feel. Oh no, Nora, making hearts heal. No looking back, it's all so real. Oh, oh, hot dog, you better hold on tight. Oh, oh, hot dog, shine in the light. Truth and laughter, oh what a sight. Nora's here to make it right. Facts and giggles in every line. Nora's voice, oh so fine, brightens up every time. Life with Nora perfectly in rhyme. Oh no, Nora, she's the real deal. Holding feet to the fire you can't feel. Oh no, Nora, making hearts heal. No looking back, it's all so real. Oh, oh, hot dog, you better hold on tight. Oh, oh, hot dog, shine in the light. Truth and laughter, oh what a sight. No looking back, it's all so real.
How about now? Hey-o! Live from the garage. It wouldn't be a Nora stream if there weren't a technical difficulty right at the beginning. Trademark, TM, copyright. Hey, guys, I have a theme song. What did you guys think of that? I thought it was amazeballs. Yes. Thank you so much for the theme song. Can you guys hear me now? No sounds. Did you guys not hear the song? I just danced for 2 minutes by myself. What is happening? The whole song. Okay, so Indigo Twin heard it. So that song, where did my email go, guys? Where did it go? That song came to me from a fan. I did ask permission to play it. And it was amazing. I actually have 2 versions of that now for myself. And I love it. That song came from Trippy Moonflower. And thank you, Trippy Moonflower. It is awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. I love it. All right, guys. We have a very full show. It is, I've got a lot of info to go on about right now. Okay. So let me adjust the microphone and let's dive in. Oh, first of all, frosty beverage time. And now I hope that you guys have enjoyed the song. Got a little dance. Oh, okay. Heard the song. Yes, song. Nothing. No. Okay. People are texting me all kinds of things. So let me make sure now that I have that going. I need to, let me go to one thing here and make sure Where are we? That's that, and that's that. Okay. No. Let's see here. I have to do something here with the chat, guys. So 1 second. Yeah, the chat is going very fast. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to figure that out here in a minute. But if one of my mods in the back can slow the chat down, thank you. That's been requested. Okay, here we go. We're going to dive in to, hello. It's up there. Okay, I guess I'm going to lose my fan here. That's sad, Panda, for me. Nothing. Nope, that's not what I want on the screen right now. Why is this not showing up here? That's me in close-up. That's me. I had the other thing up there, and that worked. But now there is a whole bunch of nothing. You guys... Oh, now you can see it? What? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Just slow. All right, let me get this up here. Because I had it all set with my scenes. This is this one. Great. That's that one. Where did it go? No, I don't want that. Why did you mess up? See, this is not supposed to be this screen. I'm supposed to be on the other screen. Oh, I got it. I don't know what happened. Somebody touched my stuff. That is very upsetting. Figured it out. All right, here we go. So today we are talking about Scientology arbitration. Okay, guys. Now, why is this important? First, we're gonna do my favorite part, guys. We're gonna do a little word clearing here. Oh, Trippy Moonflower's in the house. Yes. Thanks, guys. So happy everyone enjoyed it. Just so my support for the fabulous gem community, we'll have to send Nora my blame Aaron AI. Oh, yes, I need to hear that. I need to hear that immediately. Thank you. Please send it to me. Please send it. Okay, so now I'm getting like Timbuktu ads because I was searching for bags like this bag here. All right, these are cool. I didn't buy that one. I bought a much cheaper one. Okay, so arbitration. What is it? It is the action of arbitrating. Okay, that's, stupid. So arbitrate. Okay, to act as an arbiter. What's that? Let's go to arbiter. We're in a word chain, guys. We're in a word chain. It's all right. I got you. I got you. All right. So an arbiter is a person with power to decide a dispute. Judge. A judge would be a synonym to that. A person or agencies whose judgment or opinion is considered authoritative. Okay, so an arbiter arbitrates, to act as an arbiter, a disputed question, to settle a dispute between two people or groups, after hearing the arguments and opinions of both, to submit or refer for decision to an arbiter. That is to arbitrate. Okay, so arbitration is the action of arbitrating. So it's that action of a person in the position of judge, okay, to decide a dispute between two parties. Okay, so, where's my question? Oh, okay. So then, what's the difference between arbitration and mediation? Right? So, in mediation process, a neutral trained mediator works to help disputants come to a consensus on their own. Okay, so this is like a parent in between two fighting children trying to get them to figure it out by themselves. In arbitration, a neutral trained arbitrator serves as a judge who is responsible for resolving the dispute. So in mediation, that person is trying to get the two parties to work it out on their own and come to a conclusion, versus arbitration, there's one person appointed as judge, jury, final decision, okay? And they're working to hear all of the things and then make a decision, okay? So who usually wins in arbitration? This is a great question. An empirical study conducted by economic firm NDP Analytics and released by ILR shows that employees and consumers win more money more often and more quickly in arbitration than in a lawsuit. Employees were more likely to win in arbitration, almost 38%, than a lawsuit, almost 11%. Okay. Now, I did ask a question earlier. And I guess my tab went away, but I'll just ask it right now. So I asked which religions use arbitration. See, look, it's still there. So the AI answer that generated here, AI. So many religions use arbitration, including Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So the Beth Din of America, the largest Jewish ecclesiastical court in the U.S., has an arbitration agreement that requires participants to accept the Beth Din's decision as legally binding. However, the agreement doesn't require the participants to be Jewish. For example, a Jewish marriage contract, or ketubah, may include a religious arbitration clause that recognizes the Beth Din as having authority to counsel the couple in accordance with Jewish tradition. Okay, Christianity, Christian lawyers in private schools may use the peacemaker method of religious arbitration. For example, Teen Challenge may require participants to submit disputes to Christian conciliation. Teen Challenge, of course, is like one of those sleepaway camps for bad kids. So instead of that stuff going to a court of law to be decided on whether or not there was child abuse, this, that, and the other, it's got to go to arbitration. Islam, similarly, the Quran provides textual basis for arbitration in Islamic law, including civil and criminal cases. For example, the Quran says, "And if ye fear a breach between them," the man and wife, "appoint an arbiter from his folk and an arbitrator from her folk." So in the Quran, both sides are equally represented by an arbiter. That is very interesting. All right. So apparently it's not just used in Scientology. And as we know, it's used in financial disputes. Like, you know, if you, when you sign up for a mobile phone contract, as an example, there's a huge clause. And part of that clause is if you have a disagreement with that phone carrier, that you go to their arbitration versus suing them. It's part of the clause of using their towers, right? That's part of the deal. All right. Now, this is an article from the New York Times from 2015, November 2nd, 2015, by Michael Corkery and Jessica Silver Greenberg. In religious arbitration, scripture is the rule of law. This is a woman holding up a picture of her son. Sherry Spivey holds a photo of her son, Nick Ellison, who died from taking drugs shortly after leaving Teen Challenge. Oh, interesting that it was just mentioned in the AI. It's probably because I had this tab up. A Christian substance abuse program. Okay. So, a few months before he took a toxic mix of drugs and died on a stranger's couch, Nicholas Ellison wrote a letter to his little sister. He asked for Jolly Ranchers, Starbursts, and Silly Bands bracelets, some of the treats permitted at the substance abuse program he attended in Florida. Then, almost as an aside, Mr. Ellison wrote about how the Christian-run program that was supposed to cure his drug and alcohol problem had instead de-gayed him. So he went there because he was on drugs, right? But they had to pray away the gay because that's really why he got sent there. God makes all things new, Mr. Ellison wrote in bright green ink. The weirdest thing is, how do I come out as straight after all this time? To his family and friends, Mr. Ellison's professed identity change was just one of many clues that something had gone wrong at the program Teen Challenge, where he'd been sent by a judge as an alternative to jail. Okay, so here's his letter. God doesn't make homosexuals. I realized something. There's no such thing. If you lie once, you aren't forever a liar, and you just behave. I've probably gone into something temptations with men in the past. Doesn't make me gay. Oh, I gave into, right? This is crazy. When his family sued Teen Challenge in 2012, hoping to uncover what had happened, they quickly hit a wall. When he was admitted to the program at age 20, to a program called Teen Challenge, okay, Mr. Ellison signed a contract that prevented him and his family from taking the Christian group to court. Instead, his claim had to be resolved through a mediation or arbitration process that would be bound not by state or federal law, but by the Bible. The Holy Scripture shall be the supreme authority, the rules of the preceding state. For generations, religious tribunals have been used in the United States to settle family disputes and spiritual debates. But through arbitration, religion is being used to sort out secular problems like claims of financial fraud and wrongful death. That seems a big stretch. Customers who buy bamboo floors from Higuera Hardwoods in Washington State must take any dispute before a Christian arbitrator, according to the company's website. What? Carolina Cabin Rentals, which rents high-end vacation properties in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, tells its customers that disputes may be resolved according to biblical principles. The same goes for contestants in a fishing tournament in Hawaii. What? This is crazy, y'all. Religious arbitration clauses, including the one used by Teen Challenge, have often proved impervious to legal challenges. Oh, here it comes the big bad guy. Scientology forbids its followers from associating with former members who've been declared suppressive persons. Boom! Thank you for putting it in black and white here in New York Times. According to people who have left the church, that's according to us. But this year, a federal judge in Florida upheld a religious arbitration clause requiring Luis Garcia, a declared suppressive person, to take his claim that the church had defrauded him of tens of thousands of dollars before a panel of Scientologists instead of going to court. Okay? And he lost that arbitration, as we know. He didn't get no money back. All right. So now, what do we know about what has been happening in Scientology? How they, besides Luis's case, who else is going through this process, right? So we have the Rolling Stone article here about Valerie Haney. And this, of course, is reference, like Tony Ortega wrote this for Rolling Stone. Okay. And this is from last year, March 27th, 2023. So she escaped Scientology in the trunk of a car. Her nightmare is far from over. Valerie Haney opens up about her years-long battle with the Church of Scientology and how the court is forcing her into religious arbitration. So she was very scared about doing this interview. Like, she has mentioned that many, many times. So she was in Scientology for 22 years. She has PTSD, of course. So in November 2016, Haney, who worked casting Scientology's international films, crawled into the trunk of an actor's car during a film shoot in order to get away from Scientology's secretive international management compound, Gold Base, near Hemet, California. Her unusual escape became the subject of the premiere episode of Leah Remini's third season of Scientology in the Aftermath, which aired on A&E in 2018. Okay, so she left In 2016, 2 years later, she's on the premiere episode of Leah's show. Okay, talking about what had happened. Okay. So it's been 2 years since she, so her case is the freshest case that is, like of somebody who left and now they're seeking legal recompense from the church. Okay. So the episode explained that after Haney made it to Los Angeles, Ramini hired her as an assistant. And once Scientology found out about it, Haney was allegedly subjected to a frightening campaign of surveillance and stalking. Yeah. She was the assistant to one of the most powerful SPs to ever roam the face of the earth, Leah Remini. So scary. She's also began talking to law enforcement. Like she went to the FBI. I went to the FBI. I went to the authorities 3 months after I got out. I went to the FBI. I was thinking, of course we're going to court because this is illegal. This is hello? FBI. Authorities. Hello. Tuning in. Calling all cars. Car 54, where are you? Like, guys, this is the problem. Okay? We go to the authorities and they're just like, it's crickets. It's just literal, just nothing. Just nothing from the authorities. Yeah, crickets. Just BS. So no charges were filed, but she filed the lawsuit against Scientology in June of 2019. Okay, so now we're talking 5 years ago. Okay, exactly 5 years ago now. Alleging kidnapping, stalking, and libel, which turned into a legal nightmare that it now has her facing the prospect of going to the church to submit herself to an internal religious arbitration proceeding. Now, she has been in this arbitration now, okay, for well over a year, okay? So Haney, like other former Scientologists, finds that the church's arbitration, in air quotes, strategy is an impediment to getting a day in court. An exception was the lawsuit filed by Danny Masterson's rape accusers, who sued Scientology for, they said, harassing them for taking their allegations to the LAPD. That case also forced into arbitration initially. But then California Appeals Court ruled that because the allegations of harassment, including the alleged poisoning of pets, guys, people's dogs died, had occurred after the women had left the church, the arbitration contracts should not apply. Okay. This is an excerpt from the thing there. So Valerie is still fighting that. Okay. She's having the same situation. She has been, she was held against her will at Gold, and she is being harassed after she left. They're still sending her to arbitration. She's in the middle of appealing that. So now more from Tony, because he's done a lot of coverage of these cases. So Scientology denies that new law prevents Jane Doe being forced into arbitration. Okay. So Biden did sign into law ending forced arbitration in sexual misconduct cases. So yay for that. Okay. We've seen several lawsuits filed by former Scientologists get forced out of court and into Scientology's own internal religious arbitration in recent years. Next week, there's another case that's facing a showdown over this. The lawsuit filed by Jane Doe number 1, who alleges she was forced as a minor into marriage by Scientology in order to cover up an underage sexual assault. This is the case Jane Doe v. Gavin Potter. Okay, and David Miscavige is named in that suit as well. This is a big dang deal, this case. Gavin Potter used to be a recruiter for Bridge Publications, and he was known to have a proclivity to recruit very young girls using what we jokingly called in the Sea Org the S method. S standing for sex. That's right. It's called flirtation. You're just going to flirt it up. We all did it. Okay. We were all trained and encouraged to use, as Ursula would say, body language to get things done. If you had an attractive young woman who wouldn't stay longer on course or wouldn't come in that extra amount to, get the course complete, you brought in the cute supervisor to come on. It would really help me out if you would just, come in. Do us a favor. A little flirting goes a long way, right? Right? Totally okay. Totally legal. Totally okay. All right. So that's the Gavin Potter case. Okay. So could Scientology convince yet another judge? Oh, that's fine. Could Scientology? Oh, no. I'm just going to leave it here. Yet another judge that a contract is a contract and that a former Scientologist can't sue the church even when such horrendous allegations are in play. We told you that Jane Doe's legal team is arguing that Congress had this kind of case in mind when it passed the Ending Forced Arbitration of Sexual Assault and Sexual Harassment. Jane Doe should not be forced in arbitration because she signed a contract which they say is highly problematic anyway. Okay? So, this is just more about the thing there. Okay. So another case that is pending on this ruling, Valeska Paris's case. Okay. Her case is about her and two other Australians, okay, that are suing since 2022. So 2 years now, this lawsuit's been going on. Okay. That Scientology abused them as children and adults working in the Sea Organization and aboard Scientology's cruise ship, the Free Winds. But Judge Thomas Barber ruled that the contracts the three signed contained arbitration clauses and obliged them not to sue the church, but instead submit to its internal form of arbitration. Now, what that means is that at one time, Valeska and these two other individuals signed an actual staff contract. They have revised that staff contract. We're going to go over that in a minute. But even the original legally binding regular 2.5 or 5 year staff contract has an arbitration clause in it. Now, I never signed one of those. They didn't get me to sign that. I've only ever signed the billion-year contract that has nothing to do with that. You can't enforce a billion-year contract. You can't make me do it. So, no. Okay. Now, also, this is such a great... I have to give props to Tony for using, Dr. Evil. Kind of rad. So Scientology whines that its arbitration process is misunderstood and asks the court for a hug. This is from July 7th of 2023. So, we noticed that Scientology has responded to Valeska Paris and the Baxters. Those are the two other people that are suing, who are getting a chance to appeal their labor trafficking lawsuit that was derailed by Scientology's religious arbitration. And as for Scientology's attorneys breaking out the smelling salts, they really didn't disappoint this time. Oh, the outrage poor Scientology is being put through. To quickly review, because we know this stuff is complex, Valeska, Gawain, and Laura Baxter, all Australian residents, sued Scientology and its leader, David Miscavige, in Tampa, Florida last April over the way they were treated as Sea Org members, alleging they were forced into the Sea Org as children and suffered years of abuse while as kids and adults aboard the Free Winds, Scientology's cruise ship that sails the Caribbean. Scientology objected to the age of the allegations, the jurisdiction suing in Tampa over things that happened at sea, but mostly Scientology complained that Valeska and the Baxters had signed employment contracts in the Sea Org that carried arbitration clauses. And no, not the infamous Sea Org billion-year contract, which is not at issue in this case. By signing those employment contracts, Scientology argued they would have to take their grievances to an internal Scientology justice panel made up of Scientologists in good standing and not independent arbitration, as you might be familiar with. Okay. So at one point, like in Valerie Haney's case, right, the arbitrators that they were like lining up were completely ridiculous people. So, of course, they were asking for completely ridiculous people back. But it will be Scientologists in good standing. Mostly it will be OTs, right? And things like that. So now we're gonna set this aside. So Scientology does have a definition of arbitration, guys. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, so arbitration. This is according to the Admin Dictionary. That's the large green dictionary that contains the administrative words. Okay. Let me move myself over here. There we go. All right. So arbitration, a procedure for settling a dispute whereby the disputing parties agree on an impartial third party, interesting, called an arbitrator, who decides on the matter after thorough examination of the issues presented by the disputing parties. The decision of the arbitrator is final and binding on the disputing parties. So interesting that even Elron said it was supposed to, the disputing parties agree on the impartial third party. Not Scientology gets to assign whoever they want from their church to settle the dispute between the church and the person who left. So already this is wrong. Already this is not Scientology's arbitration. Okay. So arbitration agreement. Okay. Hang on one second. I got to switch. Okay. Put myself here. So, an agreement that if the need arises, an arbitrator agreeable to the disputing parties may be called in to settle the matter. Again, not hello, Valerie Haney's attorneys. Hello, Valeska Paris's attorneys. Hello, Jane Doe's attorneys. Here's the definition for you. Give me a ringy dingy. I will help you out. Good Lord. Okay. An arbitrator agreeable to the disputing parties may be called in to settle the matter. Agreeable to the disputing parties. An arbitration board. A board set up to hear any complaints on examinations, fairness on flag and CLOs, formerly HCO Board of Review. Okay, so that's a totally different thing. HCO Board of Review, I've had one of those. I've had a Board of Review. That's definitely a panel of your fellow staff members. A compulsory arbitration. Arbitration in which the parties concerned are ordered to have their dispute referred to an arbitrator. He doesn't have a definition for arbitrator in here. Right? Oh, I'm sorry, he does. A person selected to examine and settle the issues involved between disputing parties. The arbitrator then recommends a handling which is binding on all parties involved. I mean, like, labor arbitrations, a means of handling a labor dispute whereby the matter is submitted for decision to arbitrators agreeable to the disputing parties. The decision of the arbitrators becomes final and must be adhered to by parties involved. An arbitration, a terminal arbitration, a mediation agreed to by employer and employees as the final stage in settling a labor dispute. Come on. Voluntary arbitration, a form of arbitration where the conflicting parties willingly agree to settling the dispute by submitting it to arbitration, which has to be agreeable by both parties. This is supposed to be someone who hears all of the things and they are agreed upon by all of the people. Okay? Even An arbiter here, a presiding judiciary who must be a minister appointed to the chaplain's court unit. The chaplain, or the permanent or part-time assisting arbiter, presides over all court hearings and renders judgment. Okay? That's supposed to be a job in the church. They don't have that. But despite that, here's all the definitions of arbitration, arbiter, all this stuff. That's church definitions from L. Ron Hubbard. Okay. So let's get rid of that one. Now, okay. So this, guys and gals, is a current copy or a near current copy of their Religious Services Enrollment Application Agreement and General Release. Guys, this is a doozy. It's a doozy because there's a lot of right to sign away. Okay? So we're going to go over it. But it does have the arbitration clause. So bear with me. Here we go. Page 4 and 5 is where the arbitration clause is. So I'm going to go through this as quickly. And is there some arguing? Do I have to pull this car over? Is that what's happening right now, guys? I'm seeing shenanigans. I just looked down at the chat. I am going to go through and star this stuff, guys. Please put question or comment in front of things that you want me to address because I can search. I can search. Okay. Oh, there's a question. Did I miss it? I don't know. I'm going to search for those. All right. I'm going to search for those later. Please no shenanigans, guys. Daniel from Salem, you got swatted again. I'm sorry to hear that, Daniel. That sound sucks a lot. Please, please, sincerely, guys, be safe out there. It's a holiday weekend. Okay. All right. So here we go. This is number 1. I, put your name there, recognize and acknowledge and agree that I am exclusively responsible for my present and future condition in life and for the choices and decisions I make affecting my life. With that in mind, and solely of my own volition and in the independent exercise of my own free will, I'm voluntarily signing and submitting to the Church of Scientology, insert city name here, hereinafter the church, this religious services enrollment application agreement and general release, hereinafter this contract, so that upon its acceptance by the church, I may participate in religious services of the Scientology religion under the terms, conditions, covenants, waivers, and releases I agree to by signing this contract. So basically, it's for now and forever. You're saying you're responsible. Nobody else can be responsible. Not even the supposed church here that we're being referred to. All right. This contract is my statement of my personal self-determined desire to participate. Oh, hey now. To participate in the religious services of the Scientology religion. By signing this contract, I recognize and agree that A, Scientology is a religion. The church is a church of the Scientology religion, and all services and activities of the Scientology religion are exclusively religious in nature. Now, why would a religion... Guys, please help me out, other denominational peoples in the chat. Have you ever gone into your, church, Catholic, Baptist, Lutheran, Jewish synagogue, a Muslim mosque, and had to pledge that your religion is a religion? What? B, the Scientology religion is devoted to the study and handling of the human spirit in relationship to itself, universes, and other life. The word Scientology comes from the Latin scio, meaning knowing in the fullest sense of the word, and the Greek logos, meaning the study of. Dianetics, spiritual healing technology, is part of the Scientology religion, and it is the study of what the soul is doing to the body. The word Dianetics is from the Greek dia, meaning through, and nous, meaning soul, and thus means through soul. I have to attest to that. Let me put my initials there. That is how you're defining those words. That's not what that means, but okay. There you go. The founder of Scientology religion is an American author and philosopher, L. Ron Hubbard, hereinafter LRH, whose writings and recorded spoken words on the subjects of Scientology and Dianetics are a record of his observations and research into the nature of the human spirit and condition. The writings and recorded spoken words of LRH on the subjects of Scientology and Dianetics present a guide intended to assist persons become more aware of themselves as persons, restoring trust and respect for self and others. They are not a statement of claims by the church, by any other Scientology church or organization, or by LRH. Interesting. So it doesn't have to work, y'all. These are just words, whether spoken or written, that record his observations. Does that sound like they just said it's not true? Or is that just me? Because I feel like they just were like, if it's not true, it doesn't matter because we say so. Like, this is the drunk part of that shit. Like, what is happening? Oh my God. D. The term religious services, as used in this contract, means and refers to the beliefs and practices set forth in the writings and spoken words of LRH on the subjects of Dianetics and Scientology, published with the identifying S and double triangle or Dianetics triangle symbol, which is like a little triangle with 4 bars in it. And all services or application, all services and application of the principles of Mr. Hubbard provided to me by the ministers or staff of the Church of Scientology, of the church and all other Scientology churches and organizations, including without limitation, auditing, which is Scientology's unique form of religious counseling encompassing all services on the Scientology classification, gradation, and awareness charts, which includes, without limitation, all levels, rundowns, grades, assists, reviews, repairs, seminars, co-audits, all Scientology congregational services of any description, which includes graduation, where they're handing out certificates that they printed out. Training, which is the study of the scripture of Scientology religion on the road to achieving spiritual freedom and salvation, and includes without limitation all services identified on the Scientology classification, gradation, and awareness chart, all courses, internships, and cramming, the application of Scientology ethics and justice. They're saying that's a religious service, guys. Ethics and justice is a religious service. That is so upsetting. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Saying that ethics and justice is a religious service is criminal, in my opinion, because there's nothing religious about being made to believe that you are scum of the earth. That's not a religious experience, which are both exclusively religious components of the practice of Scientology religion. The study and the application of the principles contained in the administrative writings of LRH used within the church, and any and all other services or the use of technology of L. Ron Hubbard without limitation provided to me by the ministers or staff of the church and all other Scientology churches and organizations. So this is going to segue out into a few other videos that I'm going to have going over this, because what they're saying is that the organizational technology, that FACOCTA org board, statistics, all this, the conditions, all this stuff is now religious services, which means, if you're reading this correctly, that all of the WISE groups, ABLE, Association for Better Living and Education, The Way to Happiness, Criminon, Narcanon, are considered religious services, according to this document. This is their legally binding religious document. All right. E, neither the church nor any other Scientology church or organization which espouses, presents, propagates, or practices the Scientology religion makes any claim, one, that the nature or purpose of Scientology or Dianetics or the writings or recorded spoken words of LRH is contrary to what is stated in this contract. So you can't say that Scientology conflicts with this contract. That the application of any Scientology or Dianetics technology or practice will have any particular effect on me or any other person. So you're signing that you know it doesn't work. 3, that any particular result may be forthcoming from my participation in any Scientology religious service. I specifically acknowledge that I have read and understood Scientology Policy Directive 13 March 1996 statements by staff members, which states clearly that if any individual staff member of any Scientology church or organizations makes any claims about the results which may be forthcoming from my participation in any Scientology religious service, any such claims are the personal opinions and beliefs of that staff member only and are not claims made by the church or any other Scientology church or organization. So, if a staff member says that XYZ happened, that's a personal problem. Doesn't represent the church. They don't know anything about that. They don't know anything about that, right? Couldn't have been them. Couldn't have been them. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. I have seen the film Orientation. God, that's a zinger. I wish I could get a copy of that. And I am now informed and aware and fully understand that Scientology is a religion. That its teachings are religious and that its claims are religious in nature. I am further informed and aware and fully understand that when I participate in Scientology services, I am participating in religious services under the ecclesiastical principles of the Scientology religion. Guys, my eyes are starting to wig out. I'm going to put on my reading glasses. No, that's wrong. Oh, it's too far away. Okay, just kidding. Oh, Gen X talks. Okay, I'll just stick to the progressives. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. It was too far away. I couldn't. The reading, I have to be closer. Okay, moving on. I have progressives in here, though, so I'll just do the old lady tilt and look at you guys like I'm Chuck Schumer with my reading glasses like this. Okay, so... I am further informed and aware and fully understand that when I participate in Scientology services, I am participating in religious services under the ecclesiastical principles of the Scientology religion. I'm also informed and aware and fully understand that the church and all other Scientology churches are separate, distinct legal corporations, each independently operating and responsible for its own corporate and ecclesiastical affairs. Did they just say that their religion's a corporation in their legally binding contract? Hello, authorities. Hello, anybody? Can we please get someone's attention here? In this contract, they are saying they are corporations, and each Scientology organization is a separate corporation. So Los Angeles, the little L. Ron Hubbard way. Advanced Organization of Los Angeles, AOLA, the one that's on one corner across from the big building that's the U shape with the Scientology sign on top. That's an independent corporation. Up the street on the left with the stupid Fakakta lion. ASHO, Advanced American St. Hill Organization, a separate corporation. The one in front of that faces the parking lot, Church of Scientology of Los Angeles. Day and Foundation, two separate corporations in one building. And then you got the Continental Liaison Office, separate corporation. Bridge Publications, separate corporation. Celebrity Center International, separate corporation. I mean, and that's just in like a 10 square block area, guys. It's crazy doodles. It's crazy doodles. Okay. This contract is my commitment that I desire to participate in Scientology religious services. Oh, I blocked myself. Sorry, guys. Exclusively for spiritual purposes in accordance with the beliefs and practices of the Scientology religion. Scientology religious services are designed to give spiritual aid, not medical treatment. However, the Scientology religion teaches that the spirit can be saved and that the spirit alone may save or heal the body. And Scientology religious services are intended to save the spirit. By signing this contract, I recognize and agree that Scientology religious services are not intended and are not used for diagnosing ailments of the body or for engaging in the teaching or practice of any medical arts or sciences. That it is exclusively my responsibility to see my physical and medical well-being, see to my physical and medical well-being, and under no circumstance does the church or any other Scientology church or organization which espouses, presents, propagates, or practices the Scientology religion have any responsibility whatsoever in that regard, especially if I die of malnutrition and being holed up in a hotel room for weeks on end while I'm starved to death. Lisa McPherson, R.I.P. Or the many Scientologists who have unalived themselves because they went cuckoo and they lost their damn mind because they couldn't get actual mental health help. Whitney Mills. But it's their responsibility. It's not Scientology's because I signed a stupid piece of paper. So Scientology, clean slate, no responsibility, which by the way is super low on the tone scale. So sad. Scientology is really placing itself where it deserves to be, at the bottom. At the bottom. I have not come to the church, nor do I seek to participate in Scientology religious services solely to be cured of any physical illness, ailment, or condition. Guys, they're not here to lay healing hands on you. They don't give two shits. While the registrar, that's the person who takes y'all money, can assist me in arranging for a competent medical examination. No, they can't. That's bullshit. They don't have any fucking doctors, unless you count Dr. Minkoff. Hey-oh. How many more of his patients have to die before he loses his medical license? How many? Hello, FBI. Hello, American Medical Association. Hello. While the registrar can assist me in arranging for a competent medical examination and appropriate treatment by a qualified medical practitioner before I participate in any religious services, it is solely my responsibility to take whatever steps are necessary to demonstrate that I have no diagnosable or medically treatable illnesses, ailments, conditions that are not under competent medical care before I begin participating in Scientology religious services. Thereafter, any physical illness, ailment, or condition I may have that has been treated medically may then be addressed spiritually by the application of the tenets of the Scientology religion, subject to the terms of this contract. Like cancer? Hello? Like what? Yeah, you're just going to get a bunch of assists if you have cancer or other medical things that you're seeing an actual doctor for. I know that I should not participate in any Scientology religious service if I have physical or mental condition which may be aggravated or which might make my participation in the service uncomfortable or distressful to me and I agree to accept and assume any and all known or unknown risks of injury, loss, or damage resulting from my choices and decisions in that regard. So even though you may be convinced to do Scientology to handle whatever problem you've presented them with via your personality test that Scientology tells you, we got a course for that. If it is, in fact, undiagnosed mental health problems, tough tits, right? Tough tits. Make sure you're comfortable, guys, in the services. It's not their fault if you're uncomfy. Oh, my goodness. Scientology religious service may entail the use of religious artifact known as the e-meter. Oh, it's an artifact, guys, like we're Indiana Jones now. For the purpose of locating and resolving problems and difficulties which are spiritual in nature. I understand that by itself, the e-meter does nothing. The e-meter does nothing, but serves only as a guide to Scientology ministers to assist parishioners in locating areas of spiritual distress or travail, and that it is not intended or effective for the diagnosis, treatment, or prevention of any disease or for the improvement of health or any bodily function. We're going to have to go over all of the rundowns that are supposed to make you more able as a human being and make your body heal and be like Wolverine. And like, that's such bullshit. And if you start questioning this while you're signing it, like, oh, it's just legal stuff because, you know, people hate us and they're just SPs that don't like us. So we have to like say all these things that are super legal so that, you know, like you love Scientology, right? So like, it doesn't matter. And people are like, of course I love Scientology. Why would I? Yeah, it's all good. Scientology is unilaterally opposed as a matter of religious belief to the practice of psychiatry and espouses a religious belief that the study of the mind and healing of mentally caused ills should not be alienated from religion or condoned in non-religious fields. So it should only be in religion. I am in full agreement with this religious belief. I do not believe in or subscribe to psychiatric labels for individuals. Correct. So there's no such thing as, you know, mental illness, essentially. None. Right there in black and white. Why do Scientologists believe that? It's right here. It is my strongly held religious belief that all mental problems are spiritual in nature and that there's no such thing as a mentally incompetent person, only those suffering from spiritual upset of one kind or another, dramatized by an individual. I reject all psychiatric labels, intend for this contract to clearly memorialize my desire to be helped exclusively through religious spiritual means and not through any form of psychiatric treatment, specifically including involuntary commitment based on so-called lack of competence. So, if your family came in and tried to 5150 you because you have gone round the bend because of Scientology, they can't. No one can help you. You can't even help yourself. And go to a hospital and be like, help me, please. I'm crazy. Please help me. You're saying you're never going to do that because it's memorializing it forever. Under no circumstances at any time do I wish to be denied my right to care from members of my religion to the exclusion of psychiatric care or psychiatric directed care, regardless of what my psychiatrist, medical person, designated member of the state, or family member may assert supposedly on my behalf. If circumstances should ever arise in which government, medical, psychiatric officials, or personnel, or family members, or friends attempt to compel or coerce or commit me for psychiatric evaluation, treatment, or hospitalization, I fully desire and fully expect that the Church of Scientologists will intercede on my behalf, to oppose such efforts and or extricate me from the predicament of so my spiritual needs may be addressed in accordance with the tenets of the Scientology religion, free from psychiatric intervention. How did Whitney Mills die? That paragraph right there. That paragraph right there. This is beyond the scope of being helped inside of a religious temple, church, mosque, synagogue, and going there to seek communion with a higher power, to reach out beyond yourself, to find hope in dark times, to feel connected to community, all these things that religion is supposed to do, to teach morals, all this other stuff. If you need actual medical care, you will not get it because you signed a contract that says, I will never, no matter what, no takebacks. No takebacks. How can one religion have the power in the United States of America or any country that it's in to deny a parishioner proper medical treatment? Even if their life depends on it, the church can swoop in and take them right out of that hospital. All they have to do is bring in this contract, superseding their family, their spouse, their friends. No one can help you. Only us. This contract memorializes my intention to participate in Scientology religious services only for purposes of self-improvement and spiritual advancement. By signing this contract, I recognize and acknowledge and agree that achieving the benefits and goals of the Scientology religion requires my dedicated participation, because only through my own efforts, can I achieve those benefits and goals. Before I go on to any further service, it is essential that I am completely satisfied with my experience with my prior service. Gotta have those wins. Gotta have those wins. While Scientology holds out the possibility of a better life through adherence to its beliefs and practices, individual spiritual advancement is not always easy or a comfortable task. And my success in Scientology ultimately depends on my own ability, strength, and determination to overcome the shortcomings and harmful patterns of my past. By agreeing to proceed with further services, I acknowledge complete satisfaction with all services I have participated in previously. No matter what has happened to you in a courtroom, in the sauna, in an auditing session, you agree it's easy breezy cover girl. Everything is copacetic. I love Scientology. No matter what. No matter what. For Sea Org members, this would extend to programs like the RPF. If I were still in the Sea Org being made to sign this contract, I would have to pledge right here that I'm completely satisfied and loved my 3 years on the RPF, wherein I broke 2 ribs, herniated 2 discs in my back, nearly bled to death over a course of months, received no medical treatment for various cuts, abrasions, infections, illnesses that brought me to near-death conditions. Being physically accosted on multiple occasions, being held against my will, being chased down Sunset Boulevard as I ran from the church to leave. I loved it. That's what that thing there would say. If I were still in the Sea Org, that's what I would be attesting to and agreeing to. No Scientology church is under any duty or obligation whatsoever to return any portion of religious donation I make. Take my money. Keep it. While Scientology holds out, sorry, I went back to the other one. However, I have read Scientology Policy Directive 13 March 1996, Returns of Donations, and understand that under certain circumstances identified in published ecclesiastical policies, such as that Scientology Policy Directive, a return of donations may be obtained through my strict compliance with those published policies and procedures relating to the Claims Verifications Board. I further understand, acknowledge, and agree that such procedures require my direct participation to the exclusion of any third parties, including but not limited to attorneys. But wait a second, guys. But wait a second. Did I put it away? The definition of arbitration, guys, said it had to have an impartial third party. So they rewrote it. They changed it right here. L. Ron Hubbard's definition of arbitration required an impartial third party, required a third party. But not anymore, because L. Ron's dead. Returns of donations are exclusively within the ecclesiastical authority and sole discretion of the Claims Verification Board. Any violation or deviation from such published policies by me voids any possibility of my receiving a return of donation. Should I, at any time, ever request a refund or repayment of donations, such refund or repayment will be given if and only if I've followed the exact procedures of the Claims Verification Board and this contract. And that in exchange for a refund or repayment of such donations as determined by the Claims Verification Board, I execute a complete release, quitclaim, and waiver of claims as provided by an authorized church representative. Okay. Basically, you're signing everything away. Okay. In connection with my participation in Scientology religious services, the church may compile a folder containing its notations of my spiritual progress, known as a pre-clear folder, PC folder, as well as other ecclesiastical files containing notations regarding my spiritual progress. That would be your ethics file. All of my PC folders and other ecclesiastical files containing notations regarding my spiritual progress, ethics folders, as well as all contents thereof, are the sole and exclusive property of the Church of Scientology International, not my local church that I go to. Church of Scientology International owns my PC folders. As a matter of religious belief and ecclesiastical doctrine and law, such folders and files are the content, and the contents of such folders and files are kept confidential from all persons who lack the ecclesiastical authority to gain access to such materials, including me, are subject to applicable clergyman penitent privileges, and are neither comprehensible nor meant to be understood by anyone whose training and expertise in their interpretation is not recognized and sanctioned by the Church of Scientology International. Why then do Scientology's lawyers constantly have documents from these clergyman penitent privileges? They changed it from priest to clergyman in a court of law. How is that then evidence of anything when this contract earlier stated that Scientology may not do anything for me at all? So showing somebody's wins and gains that they had, or a confession that they made in ethics, means nothing. It's a moot point. Because according to this contract, Scientology could do, oh, no, not the artwork. Not the artwork. I packed it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Scientology could do absolutely nothing for you and mean nothing and just be nothing completely. So why is that allowed? How is that possibly legal to submit those things as evidence and then say, nope, that's property of the church, can't have it? You know why they put this clause in? You want to know why this clause is here? Laura DiCrescenzo. She's the only Scientologist that ever successfully in a court of law got all of her PC folders returned to her. Yeah. As a condition of being accepted for participation in Scientology religious services, I forever abandon, surrender, waive, and relinquish without limitation any and all rights of ownership, possession, custody, control, access, copying, and viewing of my PC folder or folders and all other ecclesiastical files, your ethics files, your personnel file, containing any notations regarding my spiritual progress, both with respect to the folders and the files themselves and the information contained in them. So I never get to own my own spiritual progress. I never get to be in charge of my spiritual progress. I never get to I'm not in charge of me. The abandonment, surrender, and waiver and relinquishment. Thank you, Mama Opal, for that handy dandy reminder. The abandonment, surrender, and waiver and relinquishment to which I refer in the immediate preceding subparagraph is unconditional and irrevocable and applies equally to anyone acting or purporting to be acting on my behalf or for my benefit, whether I am alive or dead, whether I am disabled or incapacitated, and under any and all circumstances, foreseen or unforeseen, in perpetuity without exception or limitation. Even in the next lifetime. If I came back and I was like, bitch, give me my PC folders. I don't want you to have that anymore. I don't get it. I cannot have it. Should I or anyone acting or purporting to be acting on my behalf or for my benefit ever seek to access any of my PC folders or any other ecclesiastical file containing any notations regarding my spiritual progress, I intend for the submission of this contract to the presiding judicial officer to be a complete and sufficient basis for the immediate denial of whatever access is being sought with prejudice to any further effort to breach the absolute confidentiality of those materials or the exclusive right of the Church of Scientology International to preserve their absolute confidentiality. So, supposedly they're super confidential, guys. They got so pissed that everybody knows about Xenu. Like, they're mad. It's bad, right? But you can never, ever, ever get back together and get your folders, okay? That's what's happening here. It's both an unalterable religious belief and a matter of ecclesiastical custom of the Scientology religion that my personal spiritual progress will be directed by a minister known as a case supervisor who determines which religious services are appropriate for my personal spiritual progress and the sequence in which I will participate in such religious services. And as a matter of religious belief, I acknowledge that my case supervisor will make the decisions regarding the appropriate course of my spiritual progress, and I will abide by the decisions and direction of my case supervisor in guiding my spiritual progress. All religious services in which I participate hereafter at the direction of my case supervisor are subject to the terms of this contract. So, why is this clause here? This seems banal. This seems like, okay, sure, like the case supervisor is guiding you and is supposed to tell you, and you do the next step on the bridge. Boom, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, clear, and then you go on to the OT levels, right? Simple, it's a path. Wrong. So the case supervisor, you're saying, nobody can tell me what I can do next except this person. I'm giving over my autonomy of my spiritual journey to this person. Because what happens is, and what has happened, is all these people got up to OT8. Their next step is what, guys? OT9 and 10, which they have been waiting for 20 plus years for the release of OT9 and 10. The goalposts keep getting moved. When we have this achievement, we'll release it. Okay, just kidding. When this thing happens, we're going to release. Just kidding. When this thing happens, it's never getting released. It doesn't exist. Okay. So what's left for them to do? Let's say somebody's done every procedure on the bridge, all the L's, all the rundowns. They've done everything they can possibly do. Superpower. They have to go back to the beginning. Why? Oh, well, as it turns out, when you did your purif back in 1972, didn't actually get all those toxins out. And of course, you've lived like another 50 years. So you've probably accumulated more toxins because the purif is impermanent. It's just like you get the toxins out that you had then at that time. And so now, 50 years later, you got to get out all that sunburns and Advil you took and, whatever else. It's bad. It's bad stuff. You live in Los Angeles, smog. You're gonna run out smog. Yeah. It's important. Oh, and the objectives that you did when they were originally written by L. Ron Hubbard and you were like in the courtroom with L. Ron Hubbard in St. Hill, that's bullshit. You did it wrong. You got to do those again. I'm the case supervisor. It's like, just gonna, oh my God, my thing. I'm the captain now. Look at me. I'm the captain. I'm the captain now. That's the case supervisor in that case. Okay. This contract memorializes my freely given consent to be bound exclusively by the discipline, faith, internal organization, and ecclesiastical rule, custom, and law of the Scientology religion in all matters relating to Scientology religious services, in all my dealings of any nature with the church, and in all my dealings of any nature with any other Scientology church or organization which espouses, presents, propagates, or practices the Scientology religion. By signing this contract, I recognize and agree that. So, any branch of Scientology, you're giving consent to all of them. Okay? And all those branches I just mentioned. Okay. My freely given consent to be bound exclusively by the discipline, faith, internal organization, and ecclesiastical rule, custom, and law of Scientology religion in all matters relating to Scientology religious services, in all my dealings of any nature with the church, and in all my dealings of any nature with any other Scientology church or organization which espouses, presents, propagates, or practices the Scientology religion, means that I'm forever abandoning, surrendering, waiving, and relinquishing my right to sue or otherwise seek legal recourse with respect to any dispute, claim, or controversy against the church and all other Scientology churches, all other organizations which espouse, present, propagate, or practice the Scientology religion, and all persons employed by any such entity, both in their personal and any official representation or capacities, regardless of the nature of the dispute, claim, or controversy. This is what they're trying to uphold in the courts. They're saying you agreed you were never going to sue us. Ever, ever, never, ever, pinky swear, never. Okay? Now, the Janes didn't sign this. Valeska and them didn't sign this. It was a similar clause. It was not this clause. Okay? There we go. The abandonment, surrender, waiver, and relinquishment to which I refer to in this immediate proceeding subparagraph is unconditional and irrevocable and applies equally to anyone acting or purporting to be acting on my behalf for my benefit, whether I'm alive or dead, whether I'm disabled or incapacitated, and under any and all circumstances foreseen or unforeseen, in perpetuity without exception or limitation. Should I or anyone acting on or purporting to be acting on my behalf ever sue or otherwise seek legal recourse with respect to any dispute, claim, or controversy against the church or any other Scientology church or any other organization which espouses, presents, propagates, or practices the Scientology religion, or any person employed by any such entity, Gavin Potter, regardless of the nature of the dispute, claim, or controversy, I intend for the submission of this contract to the presiding judicial officer to be a complete and sufficient basis for the immediate dismissal of any and all such proceedings with prejudice to further proceedings of any kind. In accordance with the discipline, faith, internal organization, and ecclesiastical rule, custom, and law of the Scientology religion, and in accordance with the constitutional prohibitions which forbid governmental interference with religious services or dispute resolution procedures. Should any dispute, claim, or controversy arise between me and the church, any other Scientology church, any other organization which espouses, presents, propagates, or practices the Scientology religion, or any person employed by any such entity, which cannot be resolved informally by direct communication, I will pursue the resolution of that dispute, claim, or controversy solely and exclusively through Scientology's internal ethics, justice, and binding religious arbitration procedures, which include application to the senior ecclesiastical bodies, including, as necessary, final submission of the dispute to the International Justice Chief of the Mother Church of the Scientology religion, Church of Scientology International, IJC, or his or her designee. So you only have, you only have one way to go, and that's to do the arbitration. Any dispute, claim, or controversy which still remains unresolved after the review by IJC. So you send up your thing. Hi, I got graped by Gavin Potter, and I think that he should be fired, and I would like to be compensated for mental duress. So you write this up, and you're supposed to send it to this person, right? And if he doesn't like it, then it gets submitted to a binding religious arbitration in accordance with the arbitration procedures of the Church of Scientology International, which provide that I will submit a request for arbitration to the IJC and to the person or entity with whom I have the dispute. Where are you? There we go. The dispute, claim, or controversy. In my request for arbitration, I will designate one arbiter to hear and resolve the matter. Within 15 days after receiving my request for arbitration, the person or entity with whom I have the dispute, claim, or controversy will designate an arbiter to hear and resolve the matter. If the person or entity with whom I have the dispute, claim, or controversy does not designate an arbiter within that 15-day period, then IJC will designate the second arbiter. The two arbitrators so designated will select a third within 15 days after the designation. So it's like I choose one, you choose one, and then they choose one. Okay, great. Consistent with my intention that the arbitration be conducted in accordance with Scientology principles and consistent with the ecclesiastical nature of the procedures in dispute, claim, or controversy to which the procedures relate, is my specific intention that all such arbitrators be Scientologists in good standing with the Mother Church. Not, like he said in the definition, an impartial third party. It's so they switched it up. The church and all other Scientology churches and organizations which espouse, present, propagate, or practice Scientology are each separate, distinct, legal corporations, and each such entity is independently responsible for its own management and is independently responsible for its own corporate and ecclesiastical affairs. They're saying it right here. Like, they're saying it out loud. They are a corporation. This contract is my good faith application to participate in Scientology religious services. By signing this contract, I promise, covenant, and represent that I'm applying to participate in Scientology religious services to achieve spiritual betterment because I truly believe that persons can be helped to gain greater understanding and happiness in life. Well, that's fun. I'm applying honestly and in good faith to derive all possible personal gain from Scientology religious services. I have no record of being committed in an institution for mental or emotional disorders. I have no criminal record that includes a felony offense. Right now, because if I do one in Scientology, they ain't going to turn me into the police. I'm not connected with any person such as by marital or familial ties of known antagonism to spiritual treatment or to Scientology. But disconnection doesn't exist. Neither I nor any member of my immediate family has ever sued, embarrassed, or attacked or threatened to sue, embarrass, or attack Scientology. Don't embarrass Scientology, y'all. Don't embarrass them. I'm not attempting to investigate Scientology as a representative of any news media, government agency or entity, or any other organization, entity, or person. Uh-oh, hot dog. All you undercovers better get the fuck out. Better get the fuck out. This contract will become legally binding, a legally binding agreement between me and the church upon its acceptance by the church or upon my commencing my participation in Scientology religious service, whichever occurs first. In determining whether to accept this contract, I acknowledge that the church will rely on the acknowledgments, agreements, representations, and promises which I have made herein. As further consideration for the church's permission for me to participate in Scientology religious services and for me to use its facilities and other facilities provided for such purposes. Guys, this is just for people to do courses and shit. This is what you have to sign. Yeah. If you want to get auditing, you have to sign all this. And then they have a similar one for people who join staff. Okay. All right. I, on behalf of myself and behalf of my heirs, distributees, legal representatives, and assignees, agree not to make claims against, sue, attack the property of, or prosecute the Church of Scientology, the successors and assigns of L. Ron Hubbard, Church of Spiritual Technology, Religious Technology Center, the Church of Scientology International, any and all Scientology-affiliated churches, missions, corporations, associations, partnerships, trusts, religious orders, or organizations, or in any and all capacities as individuals, their officers, directors, trustees, agents, servants, successors, heirs, executors, or representatives, or the owners, managers, employers, agents, or representatives, or physical associates of any facilities conducting Scientology religious services, hereinafter collectively the releasees, for any physical, mental, or emotional injury, property damage, or monetary loss resulting from negligence or other acts, howsoever caused, of any releasee or an employee, any employee, agent, contractor of the church, its affiliates, or other releasee, in any way relating to my participation in Scientology religious services. So I am signing away my rights, my kids' rights, my heirs, anybody who could be associated with me, all rights. Yes, girl. They didn't include my dog. My dogs could get him. That's how we take them down, guys. We get the pets to file a dispute. Oh, hi, super stormy day. I accidentally hit this comment, but hi everybody. I'm glad you're here. I further release and discharge the releasees in any and all capacities as individuals from all actions, claims, or demands. I, my heirs, distributees, guardians, legal representatives. Oh, somebody asked how a kid could sign this. There you go. Guardians. This is how it gets legal for a kid to sign this contract. Legal representatives or assigns now have or may hereafter have for any physical, mental, or emotional injury, property damage, or monetary loss resulting in any way from my participation in Scientology religious services. Right there, guys, that one word allows a minor to sign this, and the parents can never sue the church. I further agree to indemnify and save and hold harmless the releasees in any and all capacities as individuals, and each of them from any loss, liability, damage, or cost they may incur due to my participation in Scientology religious services or due to my presence or action in or about the church premises of the facilities providing such services. So, and they can do anything they want. They can beat you up. You just signed it, said they could. I understand, acknowledge, and agree that should any provision or provisions of this contract be for any reason unenforceable, the balance shall nonetheless be the full force and effect. So even if a court of law found that this is not an enforceable contract, too bad. Too bad. You still signed it, and it is. I further understand, acknowledge, and agree that this contract contains everything that the church or church representatives and I have addressed or discussed with respect to Scientology religious services, and that it constitutes the sole and entire agreement which contains everything that I've relied upon in applying to participate in Scientology religious services and supersedes any and all verbal discussions I've had with anyone. So all those promises, all of those, things, that you talked about when you were getting recruited or told about science, total bullshit. Doesn't matter. This supersedes it. That means this is the thing, not any of that. I've carefully read this contract and fully understands its contents and consequences. I also understand that I'm not eligible for any Scientology religious services unless I sign this contract. That sounds familiar. I reaffirm that I wish to participate in Scientology religious services and that this choice is an independent exercise of my own free will. I fully understand that by signing below, I am forever giving up my right to sue the church, its staff, and any of the here and above referenced releasees, for any injury or damage suffered in any way connected with Scientology religious services. So, if you do Scientology, and it gives you PTSD, PTSI, which is a physical injury, TFB. Okay. You sign here. Oh, and there's the signature of the parent or guardian, guys, if the applicant is a minor. That makes it legally binding. If that minor and the parent both sign, it's legal. Having reviewed, so then the Church of Scientology has to, accept you. They accept you. Okay. I hadn't read that in a while, guys. It's really gross. Fucking grosses me out. I'm sorry. So, I have some things here. Where did this arbitration agreement come from? How did it come about? How did this kind of bullshit come into play? This egregious, overdrawn, just overzealous relinquishment of your human and constitutional rights come about. Well, that's not the one I wanted to show you. This is something else. I was going to go over it. But this is a confidentiality covenant that's signed into for people who are in OSA, but that's okay. This is a document written by, we're going to get down to the bottom here because it's a long one. By who's Mike, guys? That's Mike Rinder who wrote this. Mike Rinder wrote this. This is a CSW, completed staff work, that he wrote to, he's trying to change the OSA into org board. Okay. Now, the org board is short for organization board, and that's how you lay out the hierarchy, the seniority of the organization. Okay. So in OSA, they're not called divisions, they're called bureaus, just like the old Guardian's office. They kept that. Okay. So this is a lot of things, a lot of abbreviations, but I want to get. So the problem that they were running into is that the OSA International Valuable Final Product, the VFP, that's the thing you're trying to go for every day, whatever job you're in. Everybody has a different VFP, Valuable Final Product. Okay. So that one was changed so it matches the new purpose of OSA Int, which is to establish the indispensability of Scientology. The new OSA Int VFP is Scientology indispensable to planet Earth. That's their job. That's their valuable final product. In every action that they do, every swatting that they call in, every fake fire alarm that they pull every time they run a campaign against an ex-member, that is to achieve Scientology indispensable to planet Earth. Yes. Yes. And then they talk about GI, that's gross income. Okay. And there's some legal schmeagle stuff. Current legal liability stat is eliminated as an org stat, though still retained as a gross divisional statistic in legal. For several reasons. Only $12 million are left on this stat as compared to hundreds of millions when the stat was first started. This is from 2006, guys. It's only 12 million. Gross. And that's lawsuits that they had pending in 2006. Only 12 million. They handled already hundreds of millions, which consists of legal liabilities, liabs, that's short for liabilities, in just a few areas of Europe. So the U.S. is great. They love us. They love us. The vast majority of DSAs, that's Director of Special Affairs, that's the OSA representative inside all churches, and CONTS, that's short for Continental, different, like the Continental Liaison Office in Los Angeles and things like that, have no legal liabilities left. Oh, good job, guys. Good job. It is therefore not a stat that OSA Inc. can use to see what the DSAs are doing. Oh, guys, we got to know what they're doing. What are they doing? Right? It's a defensive stat and needs to be replaced with the new org stat number 1 outlined above. We retain unhandled nationwide or network NW, network threats stat, which includes penalties for new threats coming on, a new tax assessment, or other new legal liability, which would be penalized on that stat. So if we go down here, these are all like all these different jobs and what their statistics are going to be. But down here, there was a very important, where did it go? Here we go. Unhandled attackers. This is a statistic that OSA has. Unhandled attackers. This stat already exists and is one of the invest stats. However, it's mentioned here because, my typo here, not her, because it will replace the dismissed attackers stat as a gross divisional statistic, GDS. The reason for this is that the unhandled attackers is a guard stat. Using the dismissed attacker stat, you would eventually have to keep getting new attackers to keep the stat going up, which does not take you to an ideal scene. Using the unhandled attacker stat, which is a guard stat with that's Bureau 0 at the top, is the eventual product, and effectively dealing with attacks would get you to the 0. Like you'd have no unhandled attackers, right? Instead of dismissed attackers. Because if you just keep creating new people to attack and then you get rid of them, that's the stat. So if you go for unhandled attackers, then you just have your list of targets, right? The people you need to eliminate. Okay. So Mike was getting them to change this statistic, right? You got to get the threats predicted, all this stuff. Okay. So now that takes us to this confidential OSA Network, Office of Special Affairs, Network Order 107. Okay. Legal principles. And we're going to go down, because this is a long ass one, answering a lawsuit. This section. If you were sued for parking your chewing gum under a chair, you would have to answer that suit. So you answer the suit by saying you are now suing the person who sued you for $10,000 for damage to reputation. You don't answer the suit for the action that you did. You now switcheroo. You ruined my reputation, and now I'm coming for you. Then if he loses his suit, he has to pay you $10,000. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's not 3 suits. That's just an answer to a suit. You don't just tamely say, no, I didn't do it. You say, no, I didn't do it, and I'll give you a better reason because I wasn't even in town at the time, and this is a blackening of my reputation. I demand $10,000 in damages. If they're suing you for $10,000 and you're suing them for $10,000, always sue them for a juicy amount back. That is routine in an answer. If a suit is not answered, it's lost. You have to answer a suit in 15 days, and if you don't, the judgment can be awarded against you, providing somebody applies for it. So you have this guy served a summons for parking chewing gum under his chair and a $5,000 damage suit for doing so. He's got to answer that, and 15 days later, if he's not answered it, you apply for a judgment. The court, although it's supposed to operate exactly that way, normally doesn't. It tries to get the guy to answer, and it delays, and is very legal in its proceedings. Oh, no, a court is legal. Court is legal. Oh, no. So you can place a suit in this wise. You sue, the guy doesn't answer, you apply for judgment, it would simply be awarded. That's all there is to that. But there's this way of suing. You sue the guy through a lawyer. He files a suit in court, sends him a writ, and the guy is supposed to answer, and he will answer with a piece of paper or an appearance, and then some other piece of paper is filed, and then all of a sudden the other guy says he wants to settle this out of court. This is done by conference, and then they tell the judge it's been settled out of court. A settlement out of court is usually rumored around, but you can get the settlement filed in a court as part of a settlement. A judgment as part of a settlement. Then there is an awarded judgment. The court goes back and forth, and finally there's a hearing, and then the judge finds either way and rewards judgment or refuses it and dismisses the case. Legal is a type of warfare, a warfare for of better reasons. So you just sue them. Just sue. Just sue. So how did this come about, guys? So this is how it came about. This is an interview with Mike Rinder from slate.com about Danny Masterson's case. If you have someone that's accusing someone of being a pedophile or a rapist inside Scientology, their first inclination, if that person is a Scientologist, is to not go to law enforcement, but go to Scientology, to what is called the Office of Special Affairs, which is what I used to be the head of, and report it. Then efforts to deal with this situation inside the Scientology bubble go into full effect. And that means rounding up anybody else that knows anything about it or may have seen something and making sure that they are keeping everything inside the bubble of Scientology and not going off and talking about it to inappropriate people or thinking that they have to make a report outside of the organization. You're required to report inside the organization, but discouraged from reporting outside the organization. Now, this is asking if, about the procedures. Okay, so in 1997, a code was implemented for things of a sensitive nature like rape were no longer written in reports. Copies go to RTC or OSA, and so they would use codes to remove those terms. They had special codes for grape, pedos, and other things. Would an ethics officer get involved in how that KR was written or supervise the writing? Yes. The ethics officer would be involved, particularly when it's sensitive in nature and when it involves more than one Scientologist. And again, things of a sensitive nature are not written down. The priority in Scientology is to avoid anything that would give bad repute to Scientology. And Scientologists expect that another Scientologist is handled inside the organization, that you would not report to the police, that you would need permission from the International Justice Chief to do so. I would not see police called. It would be handled using Scientology justice procedures. This is an excerpt from the Jane Doe's case. This is a part of Mike Rinder's statement. For more than 20 years, I worked as the executive director of the Office of Special Affairs, overseeing legal and public relation matters for the Church of Scientology. Right there, Mike says he worked for more than 20 years as the executive director of the Office of Special Affairs. This is a legal document, guys, submitted as evidence. So when he tells you, oh, I wasn't there, I don't know, didn't happen under my watch, couldn't have been me, He was the executive director and legal and public relations matters for the Church of Scientology. During the course of my employment in this position, I was informed of every threatened or filed legal action against Scientology entities. I oversaw the responses to these matters. I oversaw the responses to these matters. I was informed of every threatened or filed legal action against Scientology entities. How's that memory working out for you now, Mike? You swore to this in a court of law under penalty of perjury that you knew about everything when it came to threatened or filed legal actions. And I oversaw the responses to these matters. How do you think the Lisa McPherson Trust got destroyed, guys? That was a threatened or filed legal action against the church. During the course of my employment with the church, I was responsible for implementation of contracts, agreements, and other documents designed to protect Scientology entities from litigation. This included the Religious Services Enrollment Application Agreement and General Lease. Oh, like that entire disgusting anti-human rights and anti-constitutional document that we just read? You are correct. You are correct. He is the author of that. He designed that contract, which takes away every signee's rights to everything. And all other agreements Scientologists are required to sign, even the ones we don't know about. No member of Scientology is allowed to raise objections to the content of the enrollment agreement. Any objection or disagreement with the contents of the enrollment agreement would be seen as an attack against the church and would be dealt with harshly by the church. During my time in Scientology and thereafter, the enrollment agreement contained an arbitration clause. Okay? Religious arbitration in Scientology is a fiction created for the terrorism effect on political potential plaintiffs. There is no Hubbard writing that uses the term arbitration. There is no prescribed procedure for Scientology, quote, arbitration anywhere in Hubbard writing or policy for that matter. Instead, as admitted by Scientology before, the rules that apply for arbitration in Scientology as the rules for the Committee of Evidence. Hubbard never designed, it is not Scientology, it is not Scientological. So the purpose of that is so that the organization can control the fallout. Absolutely. That was a question to Mike Render in another article. Absolutely. The organization can make sure that there is no leakage of information, nothing that goes by that they don't know about that could be a problem. Okay. So what does this mean? What does all this mean? A, the arbitration agreement in the clause there is not a Hubbard designed thing. It is not Scientology. It's not Dianetics. It was never intended by Hubbard. His definition of arbitration included a neutral third party to come in and handle the dispute. Someone not involved. Not a Scientologist. He doesn't list it as having to have been a Scientologist. I hope everybody who's voting down right now is from OSA. I'm sorry for your stats going down from me revealing all of this information. But hi, Kristen. Julian's no longer with you. I know. R.I.P. Julian. I'm just kidding. He's not dead. He's just supervising staff course room. I know he's so sad to miss my broadcasts. So sad. So sad. Hi, James. Hi, James Richardson. How you doing? Did you really call? Did you SWAT DOA yesterday after you came and talked to those guys and said they didn't have a permit because they didn't outside Celebrity Center? You guys can't just do work on the easement so that people can't protest. That's just bad. That's just bad. Okay, so when I bring up, of course, I brought up Mike Rinder, so somebody take a drink. You know, part of the problem is that some of these things are not changed in the now times, right? Because if you want help from some places, you also have to sign an arbitration agreement. And I am talking about the aftermath. Who do you think wrote that arbitration agreement? And made people promise to never say anything disparaging or upsetting or bad about the aftermath and their participation with the Aftermath Foundation. I want you guys to think really, really hard on who that could possibly be. We know who it is, guys. Come on, it's Mike Rinder. He designed that ecclesiastical document for ultimate power, ultimate autonomy over every single member of the Church of Scientology. And now he has ultimate power and ultimate autonomy against people leaving as well. Because they can never say anything bad about him. They can never reveal anything bad about the foundation, the Aftermath Foundation, or any of the board members, or any employees, etc., etc. Oh, thank you, Witches Woman. Hydrate, thank you. This is a continuation of his control of Scientologists and the ability now to fully control and dictate the behavior of people who have left the church. Why would that be important? Why would it be so necessary to control me, to control Natalie, to control Aaron, to control the Liz's, to control anybody who's out here protesting? Why is that necessary? If we are all here supposedly to bring down this multi-billion-dollar corrupt corporation, as they list themselves in that document, why all the need for control and secrecy? Because he never left. In my opinion, he never left doing his job. Because ultimately, if nobody can speak badly about the aftermath, nobody can speak badly or ill of Mike, then his participation in these things, like this ecclesiastical agreement that he fully admits he did, then he doesn't ever have to take accountability for anything that he did while serving as the head of this organization, of the Office of Special Affairs. He's written it into himself that there's no way for him to be held accountable, or anybody else, or his relatives, or anybody else from time immemorial, in the same way that Scientology is released from those things. It's kind of diabolical. Like, yes, David Miscavige is an absolute, fiend. And he needs to be also addressed and put in jail for his crimes. Okay? But so do every other person that's participating in the continuation of this mind fuck, absolute garbage dumpster fire of activity. not limited to and including Mike Rinder. I need to hydrate again. I cannot talk. There we go. So, what is the solution? Why am I bringing it up? Because in the here and now, what we're all trying to do, and I'm going to use the royal we, and by that I mean I include myself and anybody who's actively campaigning, protesting, writing to governments, doing YouTube shows, whatever, and saying Scientology needs to be stopped. Okay? That's the we that I'm speaking of, which includes quite a number of people. If we are going to take Scientology down and eliminate it from having this legal cover as a supposed religion and 501c3, etc., and free the people inside it from this ridiculous faux religious ecclesiastical binding. Because everyone wants to know why, when they talk to somebody, how come they don't just come out? Look at that contract we just went over, guys. They've literally signed everything away. There's no recompense for them. There's nowhere to go. No one can help them. Okay? We need to take accountability for the actions that have happened. I encourage everybody, okay, as an experiment, go back and watch. Mike Rinder put them all up on his blog, okay? All the episodes of Leah Remini, Scientology, and the Aftermath. Go watch with fresh eyes, because it was impactful in one way when it first came out, right? It was like, oh my God, Scientology's crazy. Oh, these people, I want to help them. I'm so sad. I'm overwhelmed. I'm sad. All still true. That is absolutely true. But I want you to go back and watch with a particular attention to Mike Rinder. Watch him in these super delicate moments where victims of Scientological crimes, of which he said in that very legal document that he was fully aware of, pretends and gaslights those people for millions of dollars and an Emmy into thinking that, wow, nobody knew that happened. That's so crazy. So sad for you. And then remember that in the here and now, he has recommended Mr. Can't keep my member in my pants, Kent, as a lawyer to victims of Scientology, thus tanking their cases. And I feel bad for all the other cases that he tried successfully. And is sitting on a board, not only of the Aftermath Foundation, but of Child USA, where he's crafting legislation nationally, supposedly to protect victims. He has a superpower, guys. He was trained by L. Ron Hubbard. He was not just like, he's not some lame person who just walked in one day and, just sort of Scientology just took over his brain like a zombie fungus that like gets inside of like the praying mantises and then their body explodes with the fungus and the spores go everywhere, right? That's Scientology in a nutshell, is that zombie fungus, okay? But he was trained by L. Ron. He went to school in Australia, graduated high school. His parents were Scientologists, and they were like, okay, go have fun in the Sea Org with the captain, with the Commodore. And there he sat at the feet of the master and learned everything. He didn't make it to the head of OSA by accident, you guys. This wasn't a fluke. Is anybody out here watching the Octopus Murders on Netflix? Please put a 1 in the chat if you're watching that. Because watching that documentary, I'm almost done with it. The main character, it's not a character, it's a real person. This guy who was probably the greatest CIA spy of all time, doing a lot of nefarious stuff, said in that to his kid that, he preferred to operate in the shadows. He preferred to be in the background, not in the limelight. And if you look at Mike's Sea Org career, that's where he was until towards the end. Then you see him interacting with like John Sweeney and things like that. Okay. But before, he wasn't forward facing, right? Like other representatives like Heber, who was the president, and he would go do all the interviews and stuff like that. It was his job to be the face of Scientology, right? He was just this guy, forgettable face, who came in, fucked some shit up, and left. You never knew. You never knew he was there. Nobody cared. Oh, Mike Rinder? Well, he was scary to us in the Sea Org. We knew who he was. We knew what that meant. But to the rest of the world, he's just this forgettable guy. And I think that's where he's fucking it up. Is he forgot that he's supposed to be in the background. He got put on Leah's show. He got a taste of fame. Got a taste of the good life. Because when he first left, nobody gave a shit who he was. The interviews weren't pouring in for him. He didn't get an immediate book deal. He got the deal after he got the job with Leah. Got that Emmy. Now he likes the spotlight. He likes it. Came on YouTube. Super relatable. Papa smurfing it up. But he got caught. He got caught by Miss Miriam. Got caught doing the stuff again. Go back and watch Miriam's episode. And go back and watch Marie Bilheimer's episode. Two very important episodes that there's a 0% chance that Mike Rinder wasn't heavily involved, according to his own affidavit, in covering those things up. Yet he gaslit both those women on television for money for his own and Scientology's benefit. So, I want you guys to ponder this, think about it, understand it, because all of the noise and distraction that's happening right now, that's emanating from one source in an attempt to take down the tremendous, amazing, spectacular forward momentum that this movement has. That's completely organic, that does not have a center point or a leader or, an emanation source. Other than the day Streets decided to go to the test center himself and start protesting. If we want to say like a spark that started it all, Streets is the man. I'm going to give William Good 100% credit. And all of the people that have come after to go out and protest, Jessica, even the people who have come and gone, LA Cam, Chris Without a Hellcat, those guys did a lot of work. They did a lot of work. Right? And we've had a lot of other people come out that are still doing the work every night. Hollywood Aja, right? Kelly, all of these people in every city. We've got Selfless, we've got Pearl, we've got, Windy City, we've got the Cubs in Chicago, we've got people in Boston, we've got people in Toronto, we've got people, we've got Phil and Willie Jones out protesting all the time, two of the OG greats. We've got Tori Magoo back out on the streets, right? This is what needs to keep happening. We need the message, okay, that you have the right to your own life. You have the right to be a human being on planet Earth. You are not beholden to anyone except yourself. You guys saw the contract. That is what someone has to remind themselves of every single day if they even have a fleeting thought about leaving. The sheer weight of that. Oh, Cubs is in Boston. Thank you, Joy. That's correct. Cubs is in Boston. The sheer weight of that, you guys can comprehend because we just went over it. Okay. I want to get, and now I'm going to do this. I'm going to try my search question. Oh, it worked. Guys, I'm so excited. So excited. So anybody who typed question before your questions, here we go. Emily Owens, with the heat, how long are you going to be able to stay in the gay garage? Well, guess what, guys? I have some fans going, and thanks to my beautiful Shure microphone, that is not a sponsor, but thank you, Shure. You guys aren't hearing the fans going. So I have a fan, the door to my house into the door from the garage into the house is right there. And so there's a fan that's just blowing the air conditioned air into here to keep it cool. Eventually, I think I'm going to get one of those little stand-up air conditioners so I don't have to do that, because then we have to put a gate up. We have to put a baby gate up so the dogs don't run down here and try and like jump over it and come in and get excited during the broadcast. Thank you, Mama Opal. Yes, please do type comment or question before so I can see it here and pull them up, okay? Nancy Alley, Windy City Thetan Watch is pinching you. I don't know what that means. Don't pinch people. Don't pinch my Nancy. That's not okay. Jennifer B, thanks for being a member. Question, your hair looks fabulous. How long are you growing it and what style am I going for? Well, it is getting pretty long, guys. I put it up in a hat because it's here. That's just the top. And then the back is like getting super curly. So I'm trying to, I did bring up my hair goals. I'll try and post that, on the tubes of the U. I don't know if that content creator has a YouTube, but I'm going for it to be about here in length. And then I'm going to do an undercut, just a small undercut around the back so that I can pull it up and still have a ton of hair, but be cooler. Not vibe-wise, but temperature-wise later on. All right. ABCD, thanks for being a member. Is there any way for an individual to end this contract in writing? Does being declared an SP end it automatically? It seems dangerous to enter into an agreement with no way out. They didn't put a clause in there that ends the contract in any way, shape, or form. In fact, it includes after death. So I don't think so. Not even being declared an SP ends the contract. Who did your new theme song? I love it. That was Trippy Moonflower. And thank you so much, guys. There's 2 versions. I'll play the other version when we're on the way out here. Oh, now what? Thanks for being a member. Did Aaron write this contract? It sounds like it could be all his fault. Yeah, I feel like we should make a mug or something, guys. It's just like, don't blame me. Aaron did it. It's like the old Life cereal. Mikey, he likes it. It's like, Aaron did it. It's like the opposite of Urkel. Did I do that? Donna Hannah, a.k.a. Ramone's Girl, thank you so much for being a member. Comment, wait, you mean I'm not crazy? Well, that's kind of good to know, but it brings up a lot of questions. LOL. Yeah, I hope you're not. No, I didn't say you're crazy. I don't know what that was about, but all right. Trixie0509, question. How can you be a registered healthcare practitioner and not treat someone with appropriate patient-centered clinical care? Your own beliefs should not have an impact on the care provided. Thank you very much. That is a violation of the Hippocratic Oath or the Nightingale Oath that nurses take. That's legally binding. This contract can't supersede the fucking Hippocratic Oath. Can it? A lawyer has to weigh in. I don't know. I'm asking an actual question. CK Rarden, thanks for being a member. How the heck would any court recognize this? They have. It's legal. It's written by lawyers. And people under 10 years old are signing this? Yes. Yes. All those beautiful babies. LA Audit put out a TikTok for Mace Kingsley. Mace Kingsley is a Scientology school. Under that contract, guys, that's one of the Scientology entities. You're pledging that you're not going to talk about that either. You're not going to talk about Mace Kingsley. No. Yeah, we're going to get to the schools, guys. We're going to get to the schools. Oh, now what? Are people expected to sign this trash even before they are true believers? Yes. Yes. And most people probably don't even read it. Right? Most people are probably told while they're like looking it over, like, it just says that you're a Scientologist, you're not going to sue Scientology and stuff. The usual. The usual. Like how we all accept terms of agreement, when we download a new program and stuff like that. Yeah. Does anyone have access to Scientology contracts in other countries? That's a good question, Trixie. I don't know. If anybody gets one, please send it to me. We'll go over it. I'll get somebody to translate it. Life after work. It's super for many to be able to view the stock. I've got lots of questions. Can a signer under age 18 be considered legit? We went over that. There's a parent guardian signature. And because they added the word guardian in that one clause, boom, kids can sign it. What about signing under duress? They also listed a clause for that because they made you say it several times that you're of your free will and sound mind signing it. So you read that. You couldn't have been under duress. You said you weren't. Hello, Coco. Thanks for being a member. Maybe it's because I'm the daughter of a lawyer, but why the fuck would anybody who's starting to do courses do that? Coco, from your lips to their ears, honey. Okay? Yeah. Nancy, what if the cause is fair game? Doesn't matter, according to that contract. Even if they're the perpetrators of your duress after you leave, tough tits. Tough tits, McGee. And battles, do independent Scientologists have to sign or buy this also? No. Oh, God, no. They would reject it. They would reject it out of hand because it's totally not Hubbard. It has nothing to do with what Hubbard said. Also, do public Scientologists have to buy this also? Yes. They must sign it. They must sign it. Comment. This document is insane. How could a real judge just accept this and send a victim to arbitration? Guess it's more of a question. Yes, I agree, Lady Jane. I don't know how they can look at this ridiculous and be like, I'm sorry, are you a corporation or are you a religion? Because even Apple's, fucking arbitration clause isn't like that. Go look at your arbitration clauses in any contract you have signed legally, guys. Go pick up a fucking, phone carrier contract. Go pick up a contract you signed with your bank. Go pick up a contract anywhere. None of them look like, how can they do this? There's no other corporation in America that's making anybody sign anything like that and getting away with it. Trisha Briggs, thanks for being a member. There it is in black and white. Does Miriam have this? I believe she might. If she doesn't, I will definitely send it to her because we are prans and I love her. That is a great question, Trisha, and Anne agrees. Here. CK Rarden, do you think he left Scientology or is faking on the outside so he could control the narrative of ex-Scientologists? Inquiring minds want to know, Mike. Inquiring minds want to know. Could be. Oh, now what? Do you think he will finally go openly on the payroll of Scientology a la Marty Rathbun? He could. Anything is possible, guys. Anything is possible. I don't think Davey wants him back, though. Because remember that clause in there about not embarrassing Scientology? Mike has embarrassed Scientology, y'all. So he's never going to be taken back. Never. Emily Owen, serious question. Nora, what is your opinion on Leah, given her allegiance to Mike Rinder, has a form of Stockholm syndrome? Guys, I worked with Leah. I have a special place in my heart for her. Okay, because anybody I've had close association with, and trusted and loved to some degree will always have a special place in my heart. Right now, I do believe that Leah is in the wrong in who she's standing with and how she's going about stuff. I am not in charge of her. I'm not here to be judge and jury against her. My advice as a friend to her is please wake up. Please wake up. You are a powerful, strong woman, and you don't need him. And you'd be better off not being associated with him. That's my advice, is that if she wants to win her case, which I think is valuable and important against Scientology and the horrific treatment that they gave her upon leaving the Church of Scientology, which she deserves recompense for, she needs to get as far away from Mike Rinder as humanly and legally possible. That's what I think. Arlene, thank you for being a member. Have you watched Xenu Andy's YouTube video he posted lately? It's brilliantly done. I don't know. I'll have to go look. I will go look. Arlene, look at you. And this, which one are you here, Arlene? And who's with you? I love this picture. You guys are adorbs. Grace Park, question. I saw the recent video of the heated discussion between Liz, Aaron, and Lara FM. Quite sad. What is your advice in uniting activists to stop the infighting? Cheers to you. Yeah, I also saw that video. And it also made me sad for many different reasons. And I love and have love in my heart for all three of those individuals. The thing about it is that Scientology, as you can see from that contract, okay, is the singularly most diabolical and horrific cult that has ever existed in the history of mankind. Okay. And the reason why I say that is that once you have touched Scientology, it is in you forever, much like that contract. There are only so many things you can do to overcome that, okay, that are available through modern science and mental health treatment and things like that. But due to that, and due to what I showed you guys the other day at the Citizens Commission of Human Rights, right? Many Scientologists or former Scientologists, we haven't figured out a label yet. Okay, people who have left Scientology are terrified of mental and physical help because you've been made to feel that your whole life. It took me over a decade after leaving. It took me 14 years, guys, to be able to be brave enough to walk into a therapist's office and speak to a psychiatrist to do an initial intake so that I could begin a therapy journey. And I had a panic attack the whole time. I made it through that. And the first year of therapy I did in 2016 by sheer willpower. Now, I got things out of it, okay? I talked about Scientology very casually, emotionless, like my therapist was crying. And I thought, why are you crying? 8 years later, I get it. I came out during that year of therapy, my very first year of therapy. I was comfortable enough to come out and embark on my journey as me for the first time in 40 years of my life. But for many people who grew up born into it, raised in it, worked for it, were processed and prosecuted and tortured by it, that journey never happens. Or it happens partially and they don't make it because it's too overwhelming. I have too many friends. When Liz made that list, almost every person who was listed as a person who was no longer with us, I knew from childhood or working with them or, being their school teacher or being their, course supervisor at some point in their Scientological career. And that is disheartening in a way I can't even describe to you. So when we as exes have what I want to distinguish as a trauma flare-up, okay? Because we were taught to never examine, accept, or tell the absolute truth about Scientology, about our actions in Scientology, about the consequences of Scientology. Look at Mike Render's statement. Okay. And when we are still navigating the real world and trying to live in society with real world rules and consequences, those old habits are not conscious. They're reactive. It's just it's a reaction. It takes a lot of mindfulness, a lot of therapy, and a team of the correct mental health professionals. In my case, that would be a psychiatrist and a therapist, and group therapy to help me and guide me into allowing myself to rework those little grooves in my brain into the correct pathways of life. And oftentimes, and you guys have not seen this on the internets because I don't do that, but, I am not ashamed to admit that, I went through a severe period of unrelentless anger and rage, at the drop of a hat. Because there was no other way to express myself, right? And so when people of our nature, former members, get caught out and get caught in the middle of manipulation and lies and deceit, our first defense, and always defense, is to protect, which means to lie, right? It's an impulse response. It's not an aggressive act. It just, that's how you do it. And when that gets revealed to the public in a very public way, that's unacceptable. It's embarrassing. It's upsetting. It's devastating. And so what we all saw there was an impulse reaction from a traumatized PTSI former member who's at the very beginning, guys, of her Scientology journey and learning to take acceptance. A second person, Laura, who also in the middle of lies and manipulation on her end from somebody who doesn't have her best intentions at heart and who doesn't have her lived experience, but is utilizing that to direct her actions and words in a way that are harmful to her and the people that she loves and trusts. And a third person, Aaron, who's been working for the past 9 years to tell his story to the world and explain Scientology to planet Earth in a way that is palatable, understandable, relatable, who opened one foundation, got booted from it, not for fucking up the foundation, but for people's personal opinions. So decided to open up a second foundation, which is now being attacked relentlessly, even though his only intentions in doing both things were to help the people that he's a part of. All of this is being orchestrated very carefully and craftily by a single entity. And it's not those three people that were on the screen. Could only be crafted by a super mastermind that is not the person that's in the van or the RV. That's not what I'm implying, guys. But it is that man who wrote that document, who swore an oath in a court of law to explain what his job was. Because that's what he's still doing. So that was a very long answer to your very short question, Grace. I hope that answered that. Life after work. Do you know whether any law students or nonprofits have tried to poke holes in this contract? It doesn't pass the reasonable test, in my humble opinion. It doesn't pass my test either. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe we could bring it up to, hey, Harvard Law, Stanford Law students, if you guys are in the crowd, let's take a whack at it. Let's do it. I love that as a suggestion. Karina Cheerley, has this contract been challenged in court? If so, which court system? Not to my knowledge. Not yet. I don't know. I don't know if it's this contract that Valeska and them were made to sign, or if it was an earlier version of this contract, but it would still be basically the same thing. Windy City, what's the lowest course that someone takes needing to sign this? I think it's a tool I can use to warn people entering. That's a good question. I would imagine somebody doing the purification rundown would have to do that. I don't know that people doing like basic courses would have to sign it. And by that, I mean, like, when they bring them in for the personality test and then they're like, oh, you have problems with communication. We have a course for that. And they do the Introduction to Communication course, which is a Division 6 introductory course. It's like $50. I don't think they have to sign it for that. Okay. I think that they would need to sign it in going on to a specific bridge step. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I lost my place, guys. This is a disaster. Okay. I think I got it now. Boom. Liddy Marsh. Am I the only nurse who refused to take the Nightingale oath? It said we would be doctors' handmaidens. Woo! That's crazy. But you know what I mean, Liddy, when I was talking about that, right? About doing no harm and things like that. But maybe I need to read it again. I didn't realize that was in there. Ann Battles. Do public Scientologists have to abide by this contract also? Yes, to do their services. Yes, Ann. Maybe Mike Rinder thinks he can take over after Miscavige or take it away from him somehow. Maybe Miscavige does not know about something that Mike Rinder had written up, Davey. That's an interesting theory. And with the thinkers today, Tara Marie still doesn't answer the question, just saying about lying. Just talking about lying. Okay. I don't know about that, Tara, but all right. Acceptable truths still come down to untruths sometimes, also called cover-ups. Yes. Yes. Guys, I'm getting all these because I typed in the word question. So who do you think is behind all the swatting of Scotty? Not trying to start drama. No, that's not drama. I don't know. I mean, I watched the stream yesterday. And I would say that the first time he got, pulled over after his interaction with the cops and the workers that were doing the gardening outside of Celebrity Center, it's very possible. Oh, God, I just shook my whole thing here. It's very possible that James Richardson, the security chief, who saw the whole interaction happen on all like 20 cameras they have around there, called it in and claimed that he had a gun. Now, Scotty said several times during that interaction that it was because meth. First of all, Scott, just like I said to you directly, the only person who's repeating that is you. Like you've said it like 20 times. Stop saying it. But they wouldn't police procedure, even if he was in a possession, his whole RV was filled with meth. That's not what they would have done. That's not the police procedure that they would have done. The police procedure that he was receiving was more in line with someone who had been called in who's armed and dangerous. Someone called the authorities and said that he was roaming around waving a gun. That's why he got that. So it had nothing to do with supposed drug use, possession, or trafficking. That's not how that procedure would go. And if it had been, please remember that while he was temporarily detained, He had his camera running the whole time, and no DEA agents or anyone else came in to search his vehicle, which is what would have been the procedure. So that argument doesn't hold water. All right. Barry Snyder, Nora, am I correct in gathering some second gens on YouTube don't have great healthcare coverage either? In the U.S., do not get good healthcare coverage either. Many go into businesses for themselves. Yeah, Barry, the U.S. healthcare system is a fucking joke. And if you don't have good healthcare coverage from your job, then you're shit out of luck, basically. Or you got to pay a lot for private insurance. Yeah, the U.S. is abysmal in our healthcare system. It's awful. But if you do have a business for yourself, you can sign up under that business and get a decent plan for yourself and your family. That is possible if you start a business. But yeah, mostly it's very, very expensive to have healthcare. Kraken Studio, the real booty. Did you get my email a few weeks ago? I did. I know you're busy, but others found it in their junk. Thanks for being you. I did find it. I think you sent me more than one. One was in the junk and one came to my inbox, but I have them. I have them. And Battles, I thought Stephanie Hutchison had it out of her system, but I guess not. Did you see her new blog? Oh, for crying in a bucket. What did she write today? I'm pulling it up. Oh, the one where she says nothing about Aaron. Yeah, the This Is War one. Is that what we're talking about? Oh, yeah, I read that. I thought she... But again, guys, this is, again, who's her master? Mike Rinder. She is of Rinder. Like as they say in The Handmaid's Tale. She is of Rinder. Like this is nothing. Yeah, I did see that actually, Ann. I did. Kathy O'Toole. Oh, that was... have you seen that certain crybaby protester is questioning the commitment of Pearl Snappy? I don't know why somebody would do that. If you've ever seen Pearl Snappy for 3 seconds on any of her amazing lives, you would know that she's dedicated. That's just stupid. I don't know. Let me search for comment now and get these all. Oh, that's not going to work, Nora. You have to spell comment right. All right, here we go. I know you don't want to read this out loud, but let me know if you saw this comment. Xenu Andy gathered all the receipts and vindicates SPTV. If this doesn't get through the DOA, nothing will. Okay, sweet. I will go watch it. Nora, I know Nora doesn't want to mention that name anymore, but can you make sure she sees my first comment? She doesn't have to read it on screen, but this video vindicates her and Aaron, etc. Okay, well, I will go watch it. Donna. Lady Jane out. So glad she saw this awesome sauce on a biscuit. Yeah. Frank Copeland's in the house. The other day, character in a movie I was watching said, uh-oh, just as I bit into a hot dog and I could not stop giggling. That's amazing. That's like that's a 1 in a billion chance. I don't know. That's awesome. I love that. Donna, I still love her, even if she won't adopt a 59-year-old Hollywood girl who does not like housework or cooking. Donna, I have 4 kids. We've talked about this. I love you. Lady Jane, so glad you saw that I tagged you in it. Yeah. Maui girl, did you see Netflix recently added Going Clear? I wonder if OSA will try to get them to take it down. I'm sure they will. Or they'll just tell Scientology, you're not allowed to watch Netflix anymore. Cancel your Netflix. Netflix is an SP. Like, okay. Just because people read the Bible doesn't mean they understand it. God loves everyone. No one person gets the same thing out of the Bible. Those are not two Christians. Thank you, Donna. Just like the so-called NDAs, they force them into yikes. Yes, CK, yes. The tax exemption that the IRS granted Scientology gave them a much more broader cover than just tax exemption. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. This should not be legal. Thank you, Rocks and a Blocks. Thank you. Thank you for your email, too. Hope you got my reply. Mary James, Scientology has figured out a blanket of legal protection in virtually every area possible. Yes. It almost seems like a Catholic child being essayed by a priest, then has the priest offender oversee the claim case. Hello. Yes. Go listen to Serge Del Mar. That's exactly what had happened to him on the RPF. He got paired with a pedo who attacked him multiple times, assaulted him. And it was all fine. Saul posted the elements involved in filing a RICO case. There are so many that Scientology is violating. There's no reason for the government not to at least investigate. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, yeah. I mean, like they're just, but see, guys, that's how they're going to get taken down. We keep talking about it. We keep putting all this stuff out there. They're going to have to, like, if Merrick Garland has the time to put together a case against Fakakta Apple, where's my RICO case against Scientology, Merrick Garland? We're crying in a bucket. Donna, I didn't notice a third party being present in Valerie Haney's arbitrations. Me neither, Donna. Me neither. Nerman's in the house. Main arbiter here is the Guardian's Office of Special Affairs. Yes, correct. Correct. Nailed it. Kim is blue. There's nothing remotely religious about any part of this ish. Yes. Windy City is here. Shocking that your contract forces your members to explicitly state, we are a religion. Yeah. I don't know that any... Has anybody gone to a church where they're like, hey, guys, don't forget, Jesus says we're a religion? What? No, that doesn't happen. CK, this was obviously written up by an attorney who definitely compromised their ethics to write this up for Scientology. Yuck. Yeah, along with the help from Mike Rinder. Don't forget, teamwork makes the dream work. No, that is not what the word faith means. No signing contracting. You go, Fat Grammy. I love you. Never have I ever. Well, this could be a long show if we're going to get into that, Janelle, but that's a fun game we should play once. I am more of a personal relationship with Christ kind of girl. I don't need mankind interpreting anything for me. I read the Bible. I pray. That's it. No organized religion for this girl. Good for you, girl. You and Jesus, do you, boo. I'm good with that. This was written by our drunk uncle. Yes, it was, Nancy. Yes, it was. Superpower psychopaths. Yeah, they are psychopaths. Absolutely, Norman. I just saw a video where these two boys took a camera into a church service of Scientology. They were talking about looking at their hand after 10 seconds and saying it was still there. Yeah, they were getting group processing. Guys, I'm going to have to tell you my story one time of being a group auditor. Yeah. Fun times. Yeah. Ethics and justice is baked into religion. It's a religious service. Yeah. Windy City, this contract hereby absolves us and incriminates you in child speak. I'm rubber, you're glue. It bounces off me and sticks to you. Basically, that's the gist of it. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm so squirmy in my chair, but my shorts are riding up. And that's uncomfortable. Desert Dog, I 100% would have signed after reading 2 lines of that gobbledygook. You would have or would not have? I think not. But if you would have, I mean, they've got them. Great point, Nora. There's nothing religious about psychopaths. Yes. Correct, Norman. So now it's the auditor's fault? Yes. Basically, they can't keep it straight. Just to add to my last comment, a couple of people I know worked for the church, never signed anything, then your general hire to work from. Nothing about arbitration, etc. Yes. Yeah, like me. I never signed that. I just signed the billionaire contract. Good luck enforcing that. A bootleg quality copy of orientation. What? No, it's not. You send that to me. Email me it, please. I want to do a whole reaction video to that. Jersey Jan 527. Apparently, they don't understand the meaning of the word religion. Correct. They do not. So what the Pope says is the personal opinion of the Pope and not the word of God. Okay. So Scientology isn't religious like Catholicism. Got it. Correct. You guys are so smart. I love you guys. CK. See what you did here, IRS? Ecclesiastical definition equals of or relating to a church, especially as an established institution. Yep. Yep. Donna, Scientology counts on nobody reading the fine print. Correct. Correct. Trisha, the insane amount of thoroughness in this contract is absolutely mind-blowing and 100% just reveals themselves. They are telling on themselves. Yes. This is worse than the last mortgage application I had to initial and sign. Yeah. Tell me about it. Those things are terrifying, guys. I'm a homeowner. Terrifying process, buying a home. You mean I'm not crazy? Oh, right. I read that one already. Yes, Donna. Basically, by telling Scientology to intervene and not get you medical or psychiatric help is signing your death sentence. You got it. Yeah. So Whitney Mills' death, not prosecutable according to that contract. Neither is anybody else's. Trisha, it's so much sicker than I could have imagined. It's right there in black and white. Yep. And this begins your starring role in the Truman Show. Yeah, basically. We need to be calling our representatives. This should be against the law. Yes, please call everybody you can possibly call, everyone. Okay? Please call your councilman, your mayor, your representative, your state representatives, your senator, your state senators, everybody from the local municipality that you live in all the way up to the president of the United States of America, whomever they may be after November, please write to them. Flood them with actual pieces of paper that they cannot ignore, and let's change it. Cricket Cinema, they're putting parishioners in a religious straitjacket. Correct. It's literally giving a license to give up any and all human rights, period. Disgusting. Yes. JWs go to the hospital and pray at you in a very visible way when a blood transfusion might be needed. Or perhaps that was just my in-laws in their congregation. No, that's it. That's all. But still, somebody could go and get medical help and decide, I don't care, I'm getting that blood transfusion, I'm going to die. They would just not be a JW anymore. That's the difference, right? Because their blood is now impure. Their soul has been mixed with another soul. They're lost, right? Okay, but they're still alive and they can live their own life and they got life-saving medical treatment. But a Scientologist would have to allow the ethics officer from their church to come in and go, no, unplug it. Can't do it. How insane is that? Just like they did with Whitney Mills. They went and got her discharged from actual psychiatric care. If you're asking if they're going to do it, they did it. And what happened to Whitney? She is dead because of them. This contract has already killed at least one person that we can point at. Nerman, Scientology International Justice Chief, reminds me of Jim Jones' establishment. Yep. F. Sciento Front Group, Human Right, First Rule, all people deserve a fair trial. Their website starts with a statement, 55 countries do not allow trials. And one religion, yeah. Geez, it's still going on. Where is the part where they tell you when you can poop? Oh, yeah, they didn't put that in there. I don't think Scientologists can poop anymore. So much of this sounds like the release, the aftermath was trying to get Marion to sign. Oh, you don't say, Lizzie the White Witch. You don't say. Yeah. Embarrassed? Have you seen the inept sidewalk recruiters? How inept the sidewalk recruiters are? Have you seen them pull shades on the retail spaces? Yeah. I'm pretty good at getting them to pull those. So are you. Comment, we need legislation. It's cuckoo that this can be held up in a court of law. Yes. Yes, Trisha, I agree. Lady Jane, this document is insane. How could a real judge accept this and send a victim to arbitration? Guess it's more. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I did that one earlier. I'm sorry. I got here late. Tim, what's up? So I'm starting back at the beginning. That way I don't miss any of Oh No Nora. Thank you so much for tuning in, Tim. I appreciate you. You made me spit out my root beer when you said that it was Mike. LOL. I'm sorry you wasted good root beer. I thought contracts that relinquish human rights are void. Me too. Me too. The cover-ups within the cult are unbelievable. Yes, Norman, they are. Mike Rinder also wrote the policy that described how to get more work out of children while giving them less education. He said it in black and white, guys. He crafted all of that. So the fact that Miriam had no education, that Mike Brown had no education, that Aaron was denied education, that Serge was denied education, who did that? Not a guy who was brought up in the Sea Organization, but somebody who got full education in good schools in Australia, and then at 18 joined and learned from Elron how to control and mold children into perfect little culties. Yep. You're absolutely right on that one. Mike Rinder has always been a Scientologist and always will be. Even during the Aftermath show, he just sat there. Mm-hmm. Yep. Janelle, this is a good point. Arbitration isn't a bad thing. It's a useful and empowering tool that puts control in the hands of the people in conflict when properly used. Don't indict the tool, indict those misusing the tool. Correct. Because I would say that the arbitration that Scientology is ascribing to and enforcing is not, in fact, arbitration. It's something else. I don't even know. It's an inquisition. It's not arbitration. It's an inquisition. Bo Beats, no sheep. Thanks for being a member. Speaking of douche lords, I wandered into old ZDT's show today expecting to hear the usual dick swinging slander, but today he was actually complimenting Aja and you. Oh my, hell has frozen. Guys, that's it. I'm going to pack it up. I'm done. Well, thank you, Tony. Thank you for the compliment, I guess. Yeah. I didn't see it, but thank you. Ian, I don't trust your mods. Well, I trust them a lot. They're good people. Also, don't mess with Nancy. She's a vet. Oh, we put Nancy and Wendy in arbitration a while ago. Oh, you did? Okay. Well, hopefully that worked out for them. Hopefully there was a good third party to intervene. Uh-oh, Aaron did it. No, he didn't. He didn't do any of this mess. Take a picture of my hair goal and put it on my community tab. Okay, I will. Trippy Moonflower, thanks again for that amazing song. Health practitioners have a legal obligation to be mandated reporters. Yes, they do. Hello, doctors. Hello, nurses. Hello, chiropractors out there helping people. Report this abuse, please. Report it. Get these Scientologists some help. I read something about Scientology saying mental illness isn't a thing. That's why I made the crazy comment. Yeah, they say it isn't. Right there in the contract. Okay. Since we are never ends, ex-Scientologists could be referred to as former ends. Okay. I'll noodle that. That's not terrible. I like it. Yes, I agree with you, Trisha. The attacks on Aaron are unconscionable. I agree. Aaron is not the cause, the precipitation of anything except for what he does in his own life, guys, just like the rest of us. Breaking news. Breaking news. We're all responsible for our own conditions in life. Crazy. Crazy. Yes, David Miscavige, I am still taller than you, and I will remain so for the rest of my life. Because I'm never going to shrink 5 inches, even in my old age. Oh, my goodness. I'm just scrolling through, trying to get all the comments here, guys. And battles. If this contract totally violates what LRH originally said, how can it be held accountable to Scientologists if they believe in LRH is the creator of Scientology? Good question. Good question. You know why? Because they got rid of that pesky admin dictionary that showed that L. Ron didn't believe in certain things in the pesky Scientology dictionary. And they just made an addendum at the end of the books with a glossary. And those are the only definitions you can ever have about Scientology. Everything else is null and void. It's squirrel. And this is a great comment from Poe on the Go. Please find your congressional rep here. If you don't know how to find them, click on that. That is your House of Representative in Congress representative. That will take you to that. Just a Northern girl in the house. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for always keeping it real and having the ever-loving patience to watch certain content so that you can shine a light into the shadows. Well, you're very welcome. It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure. Yes, this is it. This is a good example, a good wording of that, rather, Scooter Mom. And thanks for being a member. Corporation of Scientology Arbitration is a kangaroo court. That is a great description of what they're doing there. Well, Rocks in a Blocks trust the mods. I trust Nancy and Mama Opal too. Thank you. And yes, I do have the best mods. Thank you. And I thank you for thinking I deserve nothing less. Oh, Fairy in the chat. Tanya, well, thank you for being here. You do a great job, Nora. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Oh, shit. I have so much to do. If hell's frozen over, my week is booked. Yes, absolutely. We got a couple super chats here. Danger Man in the house. Thanks for the money. Thanks so much. Good effort tonight. Really convincing. Thank you for this review. This is the highest praise I've ever gotten from Danger Man, guys. Mike Rinder and Osa behind everything. Thumbs up. Well, I'm glad you agree. Thanks for agreeing. Thank you. Thank you for your backup. Your sarcasm gets my sarcasm. Hey-oh, it's a sarcasm off. CK Rarden, super sticker, per character flying in the air with a red cape and a smile on his face. Okay, well, thank you for the little emoji, too. That's what the AI describes the emoji as. Wonderful. And another super chat. What are you doing here, CK? Can we get a PDF of that contract? I will post it. I will try and make a PDF of that and post it on my community page so you guys can pore over it. OMG, my goodness. I love you guys. Holy cannolis, 3 hours. Guys, I did not, okay, I knew this was going to be a long night, but I did not think that, it was going to do that. Bo Beats, this is for you. I love you. Take care of each other. And I will see you all on the flippity dippity.